Let's make a mixed media project. Batik using Procyon dye and photos on heat transfer paper from my Epson 4800 printer. Here's a digital image printed on Transjet 2 heat transfer paper, which will go face down on 100% cotton material, in this case 100% cotton sheet, along with some other images on the same transfer paper. Here we are with the heat press. The image goes face down for about 15 seconds at 350 degrees. With care and design, you can add multiple images on one piece of material using the heat press instead of an iron. This way you can add any digital images on your batik, including photographs or anything that you can see on your computer. Next, we're going to take individual strips, lay them face down, and use a heavy iron at high temperature to press them on where you want them. Try to find an older iron at a yard sale or thrift store. This iron is from the 70s and is made of much more metal and much less plastic, so it is heavier and heats better, and you can get more pressure. You need pressure and heat for the transfer paper, because if you don't get it hot enough when you peel it, you end up with a gummy mess that can affect your design. In the middle of this colored strip, you can see that white fuzzy stuff where the transfer didn't work very well because it wasn't hot enough, and when I peeled the paper off, it wasn't melted completely onto the fabric. In some designs, this may not matter. Here we have the transfers all ironed on. And here's a few tools used to put on the wax. For the melting of wax, I use an electric skillet, which is low and stable, easy to control the temperature, and reduces the fire hazard from hot wax vapor. Also, you can see the handy fan, which sucks out wax vapors out the window, so I don't have to breathe them. Usually, I use a brush to apply the wax to both sides of the image. You have to do the front and the back to keep the dyes from miscoloring your digital image. I use Procyon fiber reactive dyes that I get from Dharma Trading Company here in California. Along with the dyes and water, you also have to put in some soda ash and some salt. Now that the material is dried, we're going to add some more wax. The batik process is alternating layers of wax and dye. Wherever you put wax seals the material, and you will not be able to change the color of the material by adding more dye. Okay, we've moved on to add some more dyes using darker colors. Here you can see the water beading on the wax because it cannot get into the material. You just keep repeating the layers of wax and dye until the design is done. Now it's time to remove the wax. The easiest method is to use the iron and lots of layers of newspaper. You keep changing the newspaper until there's little or no residue, wax residue, coming out onto the paper. The iron should be just hot enough to melt the wax with only a tiny bit of wax smoke. If the iron is too hot, it will create a lot of wax smoke. Make sure you have your handy ventilation fan available again, because these vapors are not good for you to breathe. You can use plain newspaper if you have a darker batik. If you have really light colors, you may want to put a layer of plain white paper or newsprint underneath the batik and use the plain paper as the top sheet. Otherwise, you might get some text printed onto your batik. Change the paper as necessary. And stretched on stretcher bars.